Alright, so after a night of testing fueled by rainy weather, making me all cozy on the inside and Family Guy, I have to present to you a much faster version of my old Wither Farm design. So, I designed the prototype for this back in 1.8, made a revised video as of recording this a few days ago, and that basically made it so the Ghasts had a block in the middle so they could bounce off, and it was a refined collection chamber where you killed them with the sweeping edge instead of the old design where they kind of fanned out and you sweeped back and forth. Because of course you can't hit that fast anymore and you have this cooldown, and sweeping edge is actually a lot more effective at killing than normal. So, this is what we've come up with. So Oriolamp on our server suggested that we do two things. First off, we remove the gas on the top layer because they were a bit dated. Remember, designed back in 1.8, so observers weren't a thing. We figured that the observer collection floor where it actually pulls the block back, this is disabled right now. Normally these blocks would be out. Extends the piston, pulls the block back, and then they drop through. And that is much faster than the gas that we had there previously, of course using nether bricks, so you can build this anywhere inside of a fortress bounding box. You don't need to actually use the bounding area of an intersection or a walkway or anything like that. You can basically build this wherever you see a fortress, which is not hard to find. And another thing we did is we doubled up the gas down here. So unfortunately this design uses, I believe, a little bit more than last time. I did remove a couple of gas on the side here, so I'm not quite sure how many we have in here. It should be about 17 wide. That's a lot of gas. So I haven't quite counted, so don't take my word for that, but it is more gas than last time, of course. However, it is much faster. So before I get to the number, I mean, if you read the title, then you know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to hold on to that just for a second because there's a little bit of explaining to do. So yeah, this was definitely Pablo's wiring up here, Orio's suggestion to do these different changes to speed things up. This actually uses the signal strength, as he calls it, it's signal strength efficient. So in each of these furnaces we have 28 items, so that when this block pushes in front of the comparator, it outputs a signal strength of 3. So if I can turn this on, I don't want to turn it on because stuff will spawn, but basically the dust level is as low as it can be, and that actually saves a lot on the lag when you're turning this on and off, because you have to extend, I think it's something like 1600 pistons in here, because that's how many spawning spaces we have, and that creates quite a lot of lag, and significantly less when we use this kind of wiring. This kind of wiring also allows us to completely fix the farm when it bugs out, because sometimes mobs spawn, they shift over, or they don't fall straight down fast enough, or two spawn at the same. It can mess up. And this can actually completely fix it. I can actually demonstrate that real quick. So it extends everything and then pulls them right back, and that'll completely reset the farm. And then you can give it a quick pulse to turn it back on. So let me move on from those details real quick. So the new rates of this farm previously was about 3.4 skulls a minute with one player. As of my testing, I've been testing all night. I think I've done several 10-minute tests. I did a 20-minute test, and this amount was the grand total of 30 minutes. So from that, based off my other tests, kind of ignoring an outlier where I got over 6 skulls a minute, this thing is basically around 4.85 skulls a minute, which is a lot faster than I previously was getting. So if I can actually turn these gas on real quick, you can see this is how it looks. It kind of looks awesome, I'm not gonna lie. I love this kind of double helix cross pattern it makes. Let me just turn the farm on. All I have to do is switch that to 2 ticks, click the button, and then the pistons all forget their blocks and the farm is effectively enabled, and you can see stuff starts dropping out of there almost immediately. Now, one of the changes that we made, having the gas going all in one direction, I'm going to have to disable this if I'm going to start recording. Sorry about that. I underclocked my CPU the other day, so I'm not quite getting the FPS I used to get. But with the gas going around, it won't be too bad. So with the farm disabled, I can cleanly show you that with the gas going in one direction, the mobs will no longer get stuck on the sides, so we don't need the trapdoors, which is good, because with this new spawning floor, if we had trapdoors here, wither skeletons wouldn't spawn, and if we had them lower, then mobs could get stuck, and that is much worse than one or so getting stuck in here, because this whole side would be basically disabled. And with Pablo's wiring of the signal strength of 3, it doesn't work with anything higher the way that we've done it, so I had to have this spawning floor on the edge. I actually made this whole thing slightly smaller. Now that actually leads me to another point. I don't want anyone to see this as a final design. If you see this and you want to head to the world download and build this in your world, I'd recommend it. I mean, this here is a functioning near 5 skulls a minute with only one player. I mean, you can sign on a second account and get well over that if you want to. I mean, this will definitely get you all the beacons you need. Remember, this right here, 2.5 stacks of wither skeletons, that was a half an hour. And all I did was I set my macro to 700 milliseconds delay, stood right here, and I can just walk away. If you aim somewhere in the middle, it'll just keep killing stuff. That would have been a better demonstration if I had stuff spawning. Let me actually turn that on. So I wanted to explain that like this exact configuration might not be completely perfect. This rectangle shape might be able to be better as a square, or maybe it'll be better spread out this way. I think these areas might be a little bit too slow, seeing as mobs have quite a bit of distance to travel, so this could be better in a smaller area. Perhaps you could stack these floors up a little bit more. Maybe you could build the whole farm lower if you can stay within the fortress bounding box. I want to open this up to the community if anybody wants to test this out, see if they can make any tweaks. I am making this video before I've consulted the other Minerva members on improving this design further, so you might be able to expect another video. I just want to post this as, you know, get the word out there, see if anybody wants to tinker with this, make any kind of improvements. Remember, this isn't supposed to be any kind of record breaker. In fact, I designed this as just an idea I had, and then it turned out to be a really practical starter farm, less intense farm. Like, this is for the more casual person. This is either a starter farm for us, where we'll be building a faster design, but we'll build this just because Minerva's sick of not having a source of beacons. Or it could be just for you and your friends. If you have some kind of gas catcher design, it should be noted that if you want to just, you know, easily use half the gas you need, you can just make this block right here just end. You can just make this rail end, cut out half of these gas, and it'll just be slightly slower in harvesting the mobs, but it'll do the same job. I mean, it'll be completely fine. So I mean, that's easily something you can do to cut way down on the amount of gas needed. And to be completely honest, this is guesstimating. You'll still probably pull 4 skulls a minute. I mean, it won't make it that huge of an impact. But of course, this is just guessing. I haven't tested that, so these are not strong numbers. I think that just about covers that. I'm going to leave this in a world download, see if anybody wants to check this out. I haven't quite counted up the items per hour. Of course, you can head to the other video where I have listed how many items it does create total. This thing, you know, we measure these farms in skulls per minute, but in my design, all of the mobs come to the center, so this thing's about from the last design. This is from the design before I improved it. We were getting 11,000 blaze rods an hour, over 18,000 bones an hour, I think, or 19,000, something like that. We were getting close to 9,000 coal an hour. I think it's 7,400. We're probably over that now. 9,000 is a key term here because that's how fast a hopper can move items. And about 5,400 golden nuggets and rotten flesh an hour. So this thing's a gold farm, blaze rod farm, or fuel farm, bone farm, coal farm, skull farm. Like, this is another mob farm. Unfortunately, I have to title this a wither farm because that gets more clicks. That's just the truth. And my timer is done. I didn't know that I had a timer going. So yeah, I think that just about wraps that up anyway. In fact, that's good timing for a timer. I hope I didn't miss anything. Ask in the comments if I did. Let me just give a quick rundown on how to turn this thing on and off, because if you've made it this far, I'm sure that you want to check this thing out. So 2 ticks is to just toggle it on and off. So that'll actually trigger all these forward. However, if mobs are being harvested while you power it, it could break. So I am lagging quite a bit because mobs are spawning. Hopefully that's not too big of a deal. If you want to completely turn it off, I'd recommend going to 4 ticks. But like I said, see, that's a situation right there where a mob can get stuck and then it bugs out. So you might have to trigger this once or twice. I would recommend setting up some kind of sequence, but over just, you know, a couple clicks on 4 ticks, it should completely shut the farm off where all the spawning spaces are retracted. This is a personal preference for me. I really like farms where when they're disabled, nothing can spawn, because it's quite laggy to have, you know, a bunch of mobs just standing up here, even if they're not being harvested. And of course, you know, 3 ticks will probably just, you know, correct the farm. 4 ticks to be safe, and then if you want to start farming again, 2 ticks will get her started. So yeah, let me just head down here and actually, just as a kind of final thoughts, show you how this thing works. I do once again want to plug this item distribution system. I think I have mob loot on. Yeah, okay. Let's watch this thing work. This is really cool. So what we found out is on a typical comparator clock with a three-tick hop or a three-tick repeater or four ticks, you can actually funnel the items out of here really, really fast. And that's what it looks like. And all of these items are being perfectly aligned against the ender chest and going along all of these hoppers, which is really, really nice to see. That's almost as fast, that's actually much faster than water. But yeah, actually let's demonstrate the macro. So to AFK this thing, you can just set a macro. I'm sure you can get those for free online. I have the SteelSeries Rival mouse, so it actually comes with SteelSeries Engine 3, where I have software that I can work with. But if you have like a just left click, no delay or whatever, on a 700 millisecond delay, seems to be just about fast enough for me to just sit here, and I could AFK this overnight right now. If I was in survival mode right now, on the survival server on Minerva, and we had this thing built, I'd just leave it running, wake up to, gosh, if that 2.5 stacks in a half an hour, so I'd wake up to, I don't know, sleep 10 hours, maybe. I can't do rough math. It's way too late. I'm sorry. Let's see. 5 stacks in an hour. That would be 50 stacks. Yeah, almost a double chest just by going to bed. Not too bad for one night's haul. And we even plan to build a faster design. At this point I'm rambling, forgive me. Like I said, I've been testing all day. I'm just too excited to not make this video. So hopefully somebody can benefit from this. Hopefully someone's seeing this and hasn't already started building the other design. Sorry, but here's a faster one. So yeah, you can just collect less ghasts and make observers instead. So hopefully you guys have something to take away from this, and thanks for watching.